If you're watching this video, you probably know that the AI revolution is now inevitable. But with every revolution becomes a huge transfer of wealth that you're able to take advantage of. Imagine being one of the early investors in Apple or Netflix before Blockbuster and Nokia went out of business. The amount of money that you could have made would have been astronomical. Now in this video, I'm not just going to tell you to pick some random AI stock that might become the next Apple, because no one really knows the companies that are actually take off in the AI revolution. It's still very early stages. But I will tell you an investment strategy or a business strategy that I believe will easily 10x, 100x times your money in the next 10 years or turn you into a billionaire. Now, what the hell am I talking about? There's some magic money making a scam. Oh my god, it's a scam. Oh my god, it's a scam. No, we're going to be talking about how you can make money off this rare earth mineral called rhenium. Rhenium is produced exclusively as a byproduct of molybdenum and copper and is known as one of the world's most rare minerals. But it's not no gold, and how is it going to help me get rich? After all, I've never even heard of the damn thing. Well, calm down, young grasshopper. Let me explain what it does. What makes rhenium so special is its unique high melting point at 3,180 degrees Celsius and high density. Products from rhenium can be thermally cycled thousands of times with no effect. Wow, it can get really hot. What is that good for? Better yet, what does it have to do with AI? Well, to power large complex language models such as advanced AI will require millions of times more computing power than we already have. So when looking to invest our money into AI, we got to look where the holes are in the market that we can put our money into that will eventually become massive gold mines in the future. And as I just explained, computing power will be one of those things. And the best thing about investing in computing power is that it's always improving. So everyone's going to have to build a new supercomputer, which is going to require more resources. And one of those resources is going to be rhenium, because rhenium is the best known superconductor right now. That's why they use it in rockets. So scientists believe right now that electroplated rhenium will be the most important resource in building the supercomputers of the future. Now, I was going to read some super sciencey quote that might make me sound smart, but pretty much how rhenium works in supercomputers is that it's able to transfer the most amount of information and electrons without melting because of its super high melting point. Where a regular computer, the more information you want to give it, it produces more electrons through the circuit. Those electrons become heat and it gets really hot and it can melt and short circuit and all those other things. There's a whole bunch of other factors that make it super important and powerful as a conductor as we get into the more sciencey electroplated part of it. But it doesn't matter! Because we're really just looking to get rich. But I thought it's important that you understand why rhenium is so important and why it can make you rich in the future. Pretty much invest in the mining companies now so that when all these supercomputer companies and AI companies are ready to invest in that kind of level of infrastructure that's going to require that amount of computing power, you'll already be a shareholder and just rake in the money. But only if it was that easy. See, the world's biggest rhenium producers are all in Chile, as well as the world's largest deposits. Currently, 56% of the world's rhenium comes straight from Chile. And even more impressively, about 80 to 90% of Chile's rhenium comes from one company, Molymet, which unfortunately is a private company, meaning that you can't invest in it in a public stock exchange. However, they did issue 132.9 million shares to 144 shareholders, which if they ever go public, those shareholders will make an exorbitant amount of money. And for that reason, I believe that in the next 2 to 3 years, that the company will become public from pressure from its shareholders. So for that side quest, all you can do is write it down in your notes, and hopefully you remember in 1 to 2 years if they ever go public, and you'll be the first ones to know about it and get on that stock. Now, the next largest producer in Chile is a company called Codelco. Now, unfortunately for the time being, this company is also state and privately owned, so you also just don't have to mark this one on your calendar. But if you know anything about state-owned companies, eventually, pretty much all of them will eventually go public, just like Telstra did in Australia. So I think it's also worth just noting down this name and just being cognizant of it for the future. And our next company, guess what, is also another private company that you don't have to just mark on your calendar. And that's a company called Mission Mining, which was once a penny stock, but is now exclusively a private-owned company after finding one of the biggest uranium mines in America called El Dorado. Now, Mission Mining is probably one of the first company out of these three that I believe will go public, simply because it's not that wealthy of a company. They don't have a ridiculous amount of money, and if they really want to upscale their mining production, they're going to need to go public or find another way to get a lot of capital. But let's hope just for our sake that they go public, meaning that we can invest in this rare earth mineral without too much problem. Now, no matter how successful a company's stock does, chances are if you're making 50 to 100k, it's never really going to turn you into a billionaire. But guess what? Starting a company can turn you into a billionaire. I know it's crazy starting a mining company. Doesn't that cost a lot of money and a lot of resources and capital? Well, yes, it does. But if your only goal is to get rich, this might not be the worst plan of idea. Now, this is kind of crazy, and I'm definitely talking out of my ass right here. But hypothetically, if you were able to get some sort of rhenium mine or processing company off the ground by yourself, or preferably with help of some other knowledgeable investors or businessmen, then you could start an exciting IPO that could potentially raise a lot of capital that I'm not saying you should run away with the money, legally and ethically, of course, by paying yourself a large salary and then bankrupting the company, or keep it running for as long as you can just to make as much money as possible. You could potentially make very large sums of money with essentially a bit of a legal scam using the hype of rhenium. Doesn't yet exist, and that's why no one's done it. But eventually, when all these supercomputer companies start talking about rhenium, and I believe it will hit the news eventually, then I believe the hype will be somewhat like a lithium type of company. You guys know all the electric car companies and lithium mining companies that just took off. There's so many small cap stocks, meaning that they're not very big, they don't have a lot of money, that blew up to having decent market caps just purely based off the hype of lithium. And I think because it's one of the Earth's most rare minerals, that it has that potential as well. Now, if you're doing your own research, you may see that there's low price elasticity on this resource, which means it doesn't really matter how much supply there is, it always kind of stays the same price, which is kind of a benefit if there's low demand. But if there's very high demand and the price isn't changing too much, even though there's a low supply, that's obviously a negative. And it's because companies are like, yeah, it's good, but we don't need it right now. Like, there's nothing that we really need this for currently, so we'll buy it at this price. If you don't have enough, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to pay extra for it. However, once again, in my belief, in the future, once supercomputers become the main thing to power these AI models, that will revolutionize business, will revolutionize the world, and revolutionize the way that we do everything, the way the internet works, the internet as we know it, pretty much the whole life as we know it. I believe price elasticity will increase and the worth of the mineral will increase, as well as we'll be forced to find more ways to produce more, pushing the companies that produce this mineral already to expand their businesses, making more money, resulting in your net worth increasing as long as you can get onto these stocks early. But either way, this is all hypothetical and kind of just based on my research and opinion. I spent a lot of time researching rhenium this week, so if you guys enjoy the video, please leave a like, subscribe. I really do appreciate it. Let me know what you guys think. It's very hypothetical, very in the future type situation that could make you a lot of money, but it also could not. So yeah, do your own research, make your own informed decisions before investing any money, and I'm out. See ya.